Alright guys, basically Tim Marrant, who has his channel, that's what his channel is called, he uses his real name, is throwing a contest, and right off the bat I'm just making this for the fun of it, and congratulations on your 100 subscribers. I'm not in it for the books, so don't put my name in, but everybody else, check out his channel. The guy should have more subs than he has. He's fairly new. And I've always sort of supported his channel a little bit and stuff, man. Just seems like a down-to-earth guy. But his contest is two questions, okay? If somebody knew that you were in the comics and they started asking questions and stuff, what would you recommend them? I'm not real clear if he meant superhero stuff or not, because he threw some superhero stuff out there. But and the second question is more or less, what's a dream team for a book? So I saw the video about 2 days ago, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And then it started planted the seed, and over the years I have recommended books to people a lot. A lot of people find out that I'm into comics and stuff, and the question, he's being lied about it. It's for a contest. He's going to give away some books and stuff, but I come from the era of the mixtape. For you guys who don't know what a mixtape was, that's where you would try to make the ultimate album from somebody by putting songs on a tape. And this carried over to CDs. And it was a very dangerous thing sometimes. Doesn't sound like it would be, but it is. My goal was always to have the greatest traveling music, for when you go on the road trips. Some people would make them to send a message out to somebody. To usually a girl or something like that. And then some people, you would just try to put a bunch of cool songs on it and they read into them. Oh, is this what you think of me? Really strange stuff sometimes, but fun, fun. And when you make that ultimate mixtape that just clicked with somebody or your friends or something in the car, man, it was a big achievement. And that's what it is with trying to get people into comics, or recommending something, or letting them borrow something. There's a bit more to it than just like, here, read this. Yeah, this could be one of your favorite stories and stuff, but you got to know the person. You got to know what their interests are. You don't want to overwhelm them with something too heavy sometimes. It depends on the person, though. Some people can handle it stuff, man. You throw some at Watchmen at them, man. I've seen people go crazy over that and be like, oh my God, they had no idea that comics could be that good. Or the Dark Knight or something, that's not their Batman, and they're just like, they don't know what to think. They're a little bit overwhelmed. This is not what they thought. And then there's some people that are intimidated by the history. They're coming in the middle of the Fantastic Four. It's been around since the 60s, and they're bringing up characters and references and stuff, and they don't know. It's just so much to learn. They get intimidated, or it's more work in the reading than they wanted. So what you got to kind of do is to know the person and think about what they like. How did they, how did this? What was the road that led them to you that got them asking about comics? Was it a movie? Was it a cartoon? Did they see something sometime? They remember something from they were a kid. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's just how well do you know this person. I've had luck with Crow, with Bone. A lot of the stuff that I'm showing you is what I have hooked people with. And yes, I have had people that were disappointed in Alan Moore Supreme. They've been disappointed in, they were, some other stuff was a little bit too heavy for them, or I gave them something a little bit too cartoony, or they're just not in the comics, but I was able to recommend something else. So one of the things that I've had a lot of luck with is Bone, okay? And you have two choices. Just let them start reading Bone from the get-go, okay? And while we're here, my stuff is signed by Jeff Smith, over this past weekend, and there's a lot of stuff. Bone is kind of good because it's light reading, it's smartly written, and Jeff Smith is a storyteller. If I don't throw the, I'll give them a little sample, see if they want more. But to me, my favorite issue is issue 16, which I've talked about in other videos before, just because of the storytelling. This all takes place sort of like you're going through the woods with, Grandma and Thorn and Bone, or the rat creatures are after him, and he uses the lightning to build tension and stuff. And this is just one of those books where it's just unbelievable storytelling. And as I'm sure there's a lot of people that do not um, you know, watch every video I make and stuff. This is the actual book that made me a fan, because like that first panel, which, you know, some of you have seen this before, you know, the three of them are hiding underneath a tree here. Okay, it's dark and it's raining in the woods. The lightning flashes, we get our thunder, and you see all the rat creatures looking for them. And then we're back to black. I mean, I can hear the rain just falling all around them and stuff, and I'm in there with them. And Hal Depot, too, Howard reminded me that when I was talking to Jeff Smith about this book at the convention at HeroesCon this past weekend, he said that Paul Pope was actually squinting in the dark trying to see things, see if he's hid anything in there and stuff. So, you know, storytelling wise and as an art of the craft, that's my favorite issue of Bone, number 16. I think this is, out of the thousands and thousands of comics ever made, I think this is one of the best structured and shows how you can do black and white comics and build tension and tell a story. Okay. Now you'll see this is all beat up. Okay. I don't know how it's going to show up, man, but it's all beat up and stuff because it's The Crow. This is one of the first movies that actually got people asking about The Crow. They just wanted to read The Crow, and you know, compared to the movie, which was still excellent, a very good adaptation. You know, pretty faithful. You know, I think. Considering some of the heavy subject matter in this and stuff, but they read this and it got all beat up. First time I loaned it up and it came back a little bit beat up, I was a little offended, but you know, people are digging it and loving it, and that's why I haven't replaced this and stuff. This is also signed by James O'Barr. So The Crow got them into it, man, but you got to know the person you're talking to and stuff. This is one of those books that was a little bit too heavy and too depressing for people. They didn't get it, they didn't click. Then they want to know the story behind it, and that's where you kind of come in and fill the gaps. So, yeah, that's one. Okay, Hellboy. Hellboy is always a good one to give somebody. You know, if they can get past the Hellboy. This is one of the books that intimidated me because it had hell in the title. You know, I was just kind of like, I don't know about that and all this stuff. But this is a book that's got a quirky sense of humor to it. That he has a really good balance of the H.P. Lovecraft horror that's inspired this, and the folk tales that he's brought from around the world, you know, the scary campfire stories. And then he has Hellboy as a blue-collar worker with, you know, little remarks, and it's just a job and all this stuff, you know. So he's got a real good balance of, you know, keeping it light so that the heavy stuff has an impact. And of course the art is just phenomenal. And that's gotten people into, those are the kind of people that like old folk tales and stuff and things like that. That's where that's gone. Okay, more of the traditional stuff, and I like to try to push Kirby a little bit, okay? But Kirby can be overwhelming also for people who aren't in comics. It's a frame of mind you got to remember, you know, because I remember the first time I read Kirby and started seeing his pictures and stuff, and I would have to flip the books over, you know, the cover and stuff. I mean, Kirby scared the hell out of me. So, you know, I got a trade of The Coming of Galactus, 48, 49, and 50, I think, of the Fantastic Four from the late 60s, the Coming of Galactus and the First Appearance of Silver Surfer and stuff. And then I explained to them, you know, we ended up getting to talk about what was really getting said here. This was Jack Kirby reading the Bible, and Galactus is how he pictured God, in a way. And it comes down to it being man against, you know, pretty much man against God is kind of what this story's telling. They snuck it in for the 60s, you know, a more innocent time and the Comic Code Authority and stuff like that. And then we get into conversations about, was, you know, Silver Surfer Jesus? And that never really clicked with me, but, you know, he's the angel that failed. He betrayed God. Could he be Lucifer Morningstar? You know, heavy stuff. And then somebody just wants some really good quality, I hate saying light reading, okay? But something that's just solid storytelling, and a period piece, you know, and it's kind of comics and stuff, is I'll whip out the New Frontier on them with Darwin Cook. Now this is people that handle stuff like the cartoons and the like, you know, Batman from the 90s and stuff, because Darwin Cook actually worked on Batman Beyond and some stuff like that. I think he came up with the montage at the beginning of Batman Beyond, the intro. Anyway, but I give them this, and you know, people have enjoyed this, man, because it's got that feel of the 50s, and it's optimistic, and I wouldn't say it's light reading, but it's structured in a way that it's not a lot of work. There's not a lot of stuff kind of hidden in there, but it's really big on characterization. the superheroes really shine, and then they get to see all these other Silver Age heroes that are stuck in here that they can kind of, ask about or get interested or something, man. Kind of goes back, trying to kind of give them the idea at the beginning, man. But this is the New Frontier by Darwin Cook. It's one of the places where Martian Manhunter was actually very cool in it. So that's always big. People have gotten hooked. Okay, there's been people that, didn't really stick to comics, man, but they pick up Darwin Cook stuff. Then, Nothing But Misery. Okay, this is the first. There's a Zero trade, but this is the first trade of the Dark Horse stuff. Lagoon by Eric Powell, and this is something I throw at people that I know they have a sense of humor and stuff, and like they like horror. These are the guys that they realize that the more blood that's in a horror movie is actually more funny. It's a comedy in disguise and stuff like that. But this book has its moments where it's really dark and really emotional, and then it's got its moments where the mood's light and it's just cool, and it's it varies between violence and action. Those are two different things and stuff. And this has a Jack Davis feel, 50s EC horror feel. People that kind of got into Little Rascals and Three Stooges a little bit. It's a lot of stuff on in there. And then this is the book. This is the book for the people that are looking for something just of substance, really good to read and stuff like that. Okay, I'll throw in the second Preacher here, the second volume of the Preacher. Okay, this is Until the End of the World. I think this is one of the top 40 best comic book stories ever written. Sorry about that. Alright, this is one of the best stories ever written. Stuff like, in my opinion, man. This is really emotional, and it makes Jesse Custer one of the most human characters you've ever seen. And he becomes a sympathetic character, and then you're right there with him when he's, telling Tulip that he'll love her until the end of the world, and it's a promise, and you find out about why they broke up and how they met and everything, how his parents met, and all this horrific stuff that's going on with the family of Jesse Custer. This just pulls at you in so many ways, man. Emotional roller coaster. That's the one that's gotten people. And then for me, I'll show them my experience, what sucked me into Sandman. If I'd read Sandman #1 from the get-go, as soon as it came out, Neil Gaiman's Sandman, I wouldn't have stuck around, okay? But Seasons of the Mist, okay? I got like issue number, I don't know what it was, 5 or 6 back in the day, and didn't really stick around. And then Seasons of the Mist comes out, and that's all I'm hearing, Seasons of the Mist. So I pick up this very trade, man, and I'm hooked. And I'm 2 issues away from having the entire set now and stuff like that. I think I got this back in 94. I don't know if that sounds right. 93, 94. Who knows? Early 90s I picked this up. And Seasons of the Mist is, the Sandman. The girls, there's this big girl movement supposedly going on in comics and stuff like that. Thanks to the Sandman, I've always known girls that have been in comics, going over 20, well over 20 years now. I've always known girls that are in comics, and it was because of Sandman and Neil Gaiman. Okay, then, if there's people who are just into the movies, or they just want to know what I can read a good comic, I've always considered X-Men 183 when it comes to characterization, and Chris Claremont hiding a little symbolism. Well, I don't know what symbolism. Metaphors of situations and stuff going on. But this X-Men 183, I've actually done a video walking through this comic talking about it. This is, to me, is one of the best written X-Men comics ever. Colossus is breaking up with Kitty. Logan wants to show him, how it feels to be crushed. So he sets up a bar fight between, Juggernaut while he's trying to get him a piece, and they go at it and everything like that. And he got, the shit beat out of him like he beat the shit out of Kitty's heart, Very good book. And then the other one is for the Wolverine fans that have seen him in the movies and stuff like that and everything like that. 268 of X-Men, Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. A great story that takes place in 2 time periods, the 40s and whatever the present was when this came out. Really good stuff, man. You can see, I think he's walking around as Logan carrying pipes, lead pipes and stuff, and he meets Captain America, Logan does. And then, you find out that they were saving the Black Widow as a little girl, which shows she's older than we think, according to this. So this is actually Captain America in the past and Wolverine and Black Widow in the present or something. Really great story. And then the offbeat stuff. I'm about done here, man. I didn't know I was going to go this long. The other offbeat stuff is that I'll leave it to chance. People are always looking. Seems like girls are always like they want strong female characters and stuff in their books. And Leave It to Chance to me in the '90s was, the a wave of that stuff. This is a little girl and it deals with magic. If you kind of like Harry Potter in a way, I'd say this is good, but it's not like Harry Potter. It's got the same magic and the same creatures in this town, and her dad is like the main magician in that town, and you're supposed to be a boy so that you can be taught the ways of magic to take his place. There's always been a magician for this city as a protector, and since she's a little girl, her dad's told her no, and these are her adventures and stuff. It's kind of like a female Johnny Quest in a Harry Potter world. There you go. And then, of course, one that I really am expecting people to pop up and see, man. I'm going with 5 Ghosts here all the way. Okay, 5 Ghosts, and my camera's acting funny, so I don't know what's happened here. All right, and then for my dream team, would definitely be Fantastic Four, done by Alan Moore, Curt Swan, and Joe Sinnot. Okay, that's how I feel about it. I just think that would be an awesome comic. I think Alan Moore respects what has come before and what's going to be. He did such a good job on the last Silver Age Superman story, whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, that he's a fan of those books. He gets where they come from, so I think he would bring the Fantastic Four back. He would reach down there and bring back what made them so cool and make it relevant. Curt Swan, just because he has that crisp, clean style that I would love to see him do a Marvel book. And Joe Sinnot, because, to me, his inks gave, you can talk about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and John Byrne forever, but the inker that stood out, across the years on that book was Joe Sinnot. He did it in the 60s, and then they brought him back with John Byrne, So, there you go. That's it, man. Didn't mean to run this long, but thanks for hanging in there. Good luck. Go subscribe to Tim Marrant and do his contest.